Hello team. So we're here today to show you how to go through and assemble a Lazy Susan unit. It's going to be European style this time. So what we're going to do is first we're going to go through all the pieces and parts. We'll do some prep assembly and then we'll go through and we'll do the full assembly of the unit. So some of it is already done and prepped in advance. That way we can make it a little quicker for you. This is going to be your front left panel. This is going to be your back left panel. This is going to be your back panel. This will be your right front panel, or right back panel, then your right front panel. Then you come into your top panel here. After that, you have your bottom panel. We already have the turntable and Lazy Susan unit installed on this one. We'll show you how to do it on the shelf. Here's the shelf. So the shelf has a couple different types of style cam locks on it. We also have our doors here, which is bifold. It's a folded door. After that, we have the toe kick here, and then we have the other turntable right here. And then we have the Lazy Susan unit right here. With that Lazy Susan unit, you will have for 8 screws with this washer that's already attached. Then you're going to have your 2 hinges, which you've seen on the one front panel. We already have the one installed. We have these 2 small rods here that are going to be used for the shelf. That'll be one side there. We already have the other 2 installed. These are your larger rods. This is what's going to actually hold all your cabinet together between these and then your barrels. So your barrels will lock on those. The buttons here are going to be used on the door panel once we get it finished. And then we're also going to be installing some dowel pins. We also have the magnet right here that will go there to keep the door shut when you're done. All of that will come in these 2 bags. And then we'll have some basic tools to use. We'll have a little Phillips head here, which we'll show you for that one. Then we have 2 flat tips that we're going to be able to use to lock all the barrels. We have the drill so that we can install the rods on everything and install the other miscellaneous screws. You want to make sure that you have that set at a low setting, low torque setting, so that you do not strip out any of the screws. Then the other thing that we'll have is we'll have a little rubber mallet. That'll be predominantly for being able to go ahead and put those dowel pins in if they're tight. And then if a panel's tight, then we can use it to tap on the panel and it won't mark the panel up. And then the last thing is your instructions. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do some of the pre-assembly. These are critical steps that you need to get finished before you actually start assembling the unit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble the second hinge. If you notice on the hinge plate here, there's a slotted set of holes and then there's a round set of holes. You want to use the slotted set of holes. You do not want to put the screws into the round one until after the very end, once you have your door aligned wherever you want it. So we'll go ahead and install that. Easiest way to do it is to move the panel off a little bit and go ahead and get your screw on. If you've got a magnetic tip on your screwdriver, that's a very valuable asset. When you put these screws in to the slotted holes, you want to get them as close to the center as you can. That way it gives you optimal adjustment as you need it. All right, once that's done, you can raise the hinge up a little bit and move this one off to the side. Now, the door is able to be hinged on either one of the front side panels. The magnet as well is interchangeable, so you have to decide up front which way you want those doors to open. So now we're going to install the barrels. If you look at the barrels, there's a specific opening right here. So you want to make sure that this arrow right here is pointing out towards the outside edge of the panel when you install those. And they just go into these large holes. Just pop them in real easy. Once you have those in, then you can go ahead on the panels that need it is install the barrel or the rods. So this one gets both. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the rods. The rods get installed into the smaller holes. You'll see these larger holes, and those are for the dowel pins, which I'll show you here in just a minute. And like I said, you're better off to go slow when you're installing these, because the last thing you want to do is strip one of these out. You strip these out, and all of a sudden you no longer have that attachment point. So you just taken the structural integrity of the cabinet and reduced it. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're holding it like I am so that it goes in nice and straight. You don't want this to get angled, otherwise it will not mate up with the other holes on the other panels. All right, here's where the dowel pins go in. So your dowel pins are going to go into all these large holes that you see. So you can take it, you can put your dowel pin in there. See how it doesn't go down very easy? You can tap it down with the mallet. So you do that in each one of these locations. Here, and then finally here. The unit that we have is an example assembly that we actually build for training purposes. So the dowel pins are already in the locations and they're stuck there, so we're not going to sit here and pull them out. Now the little rods. Typically what I do when I go through and do an assembly, I like the shelves, the turntables to be basically equal distance apart. So, and have the same space above and below. You have all these shelf options, so you can do however you want. But I typically put them in the top one. That actually gives you about the same amount of height for each one of the turntables. Next, we're going to install the magnet. So you want to make sure the magnet, these metal parts are facing out. And again, just go ahead and get those screws as close to those center of those slots as you can when you're installing. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the turntable, the Lazy Susan unit, and the shelf and put those together. So let me move these over just a little bit. So this is the top of your turntable. You can tell because it has a lot of depth to it. The other thing you'll notice when you flip it over is you'll have the label here. These holes will not be there. The center hole will be, but these holes will not be there when you actually do this, because this is, like I said, it's a training unit that we've been doing. So now you take this, rotate it to where it's 45 degrees. So now you have a 6-point star. And then you can go ahead and flip this over. You can install it right on here. This panel will have the 4 holes for your Lazy Susan. So go ahead, when you do this, make sure that you get these holes as centered as you can. I recommend not tightening down the screws until you get all 4 of them in. Get all 4 located, and what that does, that reduces the amount that this thing can shift around on you. So you put the 4 screws into the bottom part. Go ahead and tighten them down. Now here comes the good tip or trick, however you want to call it. So you have a hole here, which is at the center of the hole here. you also have this hole here. This hole here is so that you can screw in the screws. This one here is actually we're gonna use this hole and this hole to align it. So what I want to do, look down through the hole, find it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that screwdriver and I'm going to stick it down into the hole that's on here. So if you look at it, it's in that hole. And that's what I want. I have a little bit of advantage here because I already have holes pre-drilled, so all I have to do is look and find them. Now this unit here is really nice because I can actually see this screw hole here from this side, so I don't have to use this hole. I'll show you both ways so you can see. Again, you do not want to tighten that down all the way. You want to give yourself a little bit of slop. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate this around and install the other 4 screws. This is where it's really nice to have a magnetic tip. Once you get the 4th one started, go ahead and run it down. And then you can come back through and tighten up the other 3. Pull your screwdriver out, your pre-assembly is done. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the assembly process of the whole unit. I have someone to help me with this so that it makes things easier and it'll be quicker. So what we're going to do right now is we have a back left or back right panel on the table right now. We're going to take and we're going to put the bottom panel on here, and then we're going to lock it down, and then we're going to take and we're going to put the top panel on and lock it down, and then we're just going to keep going with the side panels until we get it completely assembled, and then we'll get it stood up and take care of everything else. So let me grab the bottom panel. When you're doing the bottom panel, you want to make sure that you locate this properly. So your doors are going to go right down here where this cutout is. So this panel is going to go right here. And you can kind of see that with the grooves as well. So there's a groove in the panels for the back panel to slide in. And there's a groove in this bottom panel. That's how you can tell the bottom panel real easily. That, and it also has the same holes that the shelf had to install the Lazy Susan and the turntable. So that's all locked in place. It's about 3/4 of a turn to lock the barrels. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the top panel on. Same thing, you want to make sure that this is lined up properly. Your barrels are going to always be facing out towards you. You don't want them facing in. There you go. So next panel is going to be the other back panel, backside panel. And this is where it helps to have a second person because you got to put it all the way up here. Oops, we're on the wrong spot. We got to put it back here. That's how easy it is to sit here and mislocate a panel. Once you get it put up there, then you go ahead and you get the cam locks locked. So you're only gonna have 3 to lock initially. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the side panel on, the front side panel right up here. Doo-doo-doo. In order to know which one it is, like I said, this is the opening for your door. So down here is your toe kick. So this is the face of your door, of your cabinet. So you want to make sure that the face and the toe kick are lined up with the door opening. Here you go. So now this one's gonna have the barrels that you have to turn on the top and bottom panel, and they're also gonna have barrels that you have to turn on this other side panel back here. So you'll have a total of 9 cam locks that you have to lock this side panel in completely. Now that we have it like this, we're gonna let it rotate over, and then we're gonna install the other side panel. Up. Now, we're gonna actually install the shelf, sorry. It's easier to install the shelf before you install this side panel. So. Biggest thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure when you install the shelf that it's just the right side up. Okay, bring it up just a little bit. There you go. Hold it right there. Okay, so now that we have the shelf in there, now we can go ahead and we can do the other front side panel. One thing that you have to watch for is sometimes these barrels are loose in here and they'll rotate on you. So this one rotated on me. So I'm gonna hold that one still and then seat it down. So this one also will have 9 barrels. I already got it. We'll have 9 barrels that you have to lock. Okay, let's see if we can turn this so they can see the toe kick getting installed. Okay, so now we're going to install the toe kick. The toe kick is 2 pieces, so you just want to make sure that you get them lined up right. The cam locks should be facing out, or the barrel should be facing out, because this portion here is what's going to be showing. Get it in there, lock this one. Can you lock that one up there for me, please? So now the toe kick's fully assembled. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna stand this up, and then we're gonna install the doors. Ready? Might as well go ahead and put the we're going to go ahead and slide this back panel in while we got it up here. So the door, these pocket holes here are going to slide. These are going to slide right in there. And then you just put your screws in. Get one in the top hinge first. That way, if something happens with the door, it's not going to fall over and get busted. I always put one in the top, that way the top of the door can't fall over. Get one down in the bottom, and then you can put the other two in. So once that's done, then you're gonna go ahead and put these buttons on. So you put one here, one down here, and one here. Being that this is a one that we assemble and everything for training, it already has them on there. And it also has the magnet part on here as well. And there you go. Now you can adjust your door however you need to, up, down, left, right, in, out. And then once you get it where you want to, then you take the last two screws and put them onto the ones that go into the side panel. And that's it.